the government is making a major commitment to Citigroup, and I just spoke to the chief financial officer of the company moments ago over the phone. He said this is a very positive development, very important that the government is standing by the company and essentially supporting it with a huge amount of capital. Those are his words, huge amount of capital. We're talking here not only about a $20 billion additional injection of money from the bailout funds, and remember, Citigroup originally had gotten $25 billion, so that makes it 45, and then the U.S. government is investing in preferred stock in Citigroup. It's going to be a total, he said, of $65 billion. That's big money, and the feeling is that should be enough to help Citigroup ride out this storm. The storm last week was simply astounding. The pounding that this company's stock took, lost 2/3 of its value when the government decided that it wasn't going to be buying troubled mortgage securities. Remember, Citigroup has a tremendous amount of those securities, of real estate loans, totaling over $300 billion. And the government today also saying that it will backstop losses that Citigroup has in those securities. Among customers, well, they're saying this morning the government had to do it.
I think the bailout is positive. That's what the government should do. It's inevitable. And as a customer, I'm feeling that my savings and my deposits will be fine.
They have $2 trillion in assets, so they're too big to go down. If they go down, Bank of America, everyone else, I think they're too big.
Too big a domino.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this would be bigger than Lehman Brothers.
And remember, after Lehman Brothers, that is when the world financial markets really began tumbling. So the government saying Citigroup is simply too big to fail. Angeli?
How much power does the government have to make sure that Citigroup upholds its end of this bargain? Because, of course, you know, that was one of the primary concerns when the government came to Wall Street's aid.
It's a very good question. The government says it has gotten a commitment from Citigroup to ease terms for mortgages, for mortgage holders who are having trouble making their payments. It also says it has gotten a commitment that there will be limitations on executive compensation, and certainly with regard to that, it has plenty of enforcement power. The question is, and this is really a question not only for Citigroup but for all of the major banks that are getting bailout money from the government, will they use that money to make new loans? A lot of the banks here in the U.S. have been using the bailout money just to stabilize themselves. They're still being very tough in making new loans. They're calling in some existing loans, and that remains to be seen whether the government is really going to hold the stick over these banks and insist that they start lending more, because that is a key driver that's essential for the economy here in the U.S. to jump once again.